Good evening. Welcome to the December meeting of the Development Review Board for the town of Richmond. We have two issues on the agenda tonight, and first one is a hearing for sketch plan hearing for David Sunshine and Carol Jordan for a two-lot subdivision on their land on Jericho Road in Richmond. And the second hearing is for Robert and Joy Reed to amend their existing plan use development by adding a new use to their list of approved uses and to change some boundaries. They need our approval to change boundaries?
In the B, yes, you do.
So I will recuse myself from this one since I'm presenting, and Patrick can take over and I'll go over there. All right.
Right, this is item one, SKP 2023-15, David Sunshine and Carol Jordan. We still swear you in, even though it's sketch plan.
If you wish.
Promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Great. So this is sketch plan review. It's not required, but an opportunity for the applicant to tell us about the project and for us to ask questions.
Great. Well, thank you. My wife and I, Carol Jordan, and myself, we have a parcel of land on Jericho Road, 175 acres. 100 acres of it has been set aside with the Vermont Land Trust. That's most of the forest land in perpetuity, so that could never be built on. And that's pretty much the land, although not shown on this survey, but it's the land to the right there, and that goes all the way over to about halfway to Stage Road or Snipe Island Road, I'm sorry. So pretty much everything to the right there is all forest land, and that's been set aside. And two other houses have been built over the years. One to the sort of on the road there, parcel 4, and one in the back there, which is designated as parcel 2. And our house and 2 acres is parcel 1, our present house. We are proposing a subdivision of 1 lot, which is parcel 5. And it will be, there's a private road that goes past parcel 4 to parcel 2. And this lot will be serviced off of that private road. We discovered wetlands, which is in front of parcel 4 there. So the driveway now has to circle around to avoid the wetlands. We are also proposing, and it's not a subdivision, it'll be part of our remaining land, but a house over there that's called parcel 3. And that'll be part of our remaining lands. We don't need subdivision approval for it, but because it will be a house served by a private road, we need approval of the DRB to use the private road. And the private road is, for the most part, 60 feet in width, or, well, it's a private road with a 60-foot right of way. The parcel that we are proposing to subdivide, parcel 5, will be 2.6 acres. It will be serviced by a on-site mound system and an on-site drilled well. Utilities will be coming from Jericho Road right along that little finger that's to the bottom part of parcel 4 there. And we'll come
down
back
here.
to the lot right there, yep. Besides that, the road that's servicing this has been, actually an old town road that's on the 1850 Beers Atlas
Okay.
and goes all the way over to West Bolton. And we're using part of that. It service parcel 2 now, and it will service both our new house and parcel 5. Besides that, in the future, we don't plan much. If we build any more houses, they would be way off to the north and east of the parcel marked parent, which is a house that's been there for many years. So it'd be over in that area. That would be the best of our master plan. Everything else would stay about the same. Any questions?
Did you already get reviewed by the wetlands office?
No, we've gotten a the WW permit's been applied for. I don't know what our engineers are doing about wetlands.
Okay.
We know, I mean, we have had a wetlands expert out, and she has delineated the wetlands that are in front of parcel 5, and that's why we had to go around. The wetlands over there that are shown, that's a pond we built many years ago, about 45 years ago, actually. And that's wetlands, and that's won't be bothered. The other wetlands, if you could scroll up a little bit, are right there, that the mark, yeah, right there. And that's what we have had delineated. And we're not planning to intrude upon those wetlands at all.
Yeah, I mean, your consultant probably advised you, if that is indeed a class 2 wetland, then you're going to be doing work within the 50-foot buffer, you could need a wetland permit.
We
So,
should be outside the buffer. Maybe the road might go through the buffer a little bit, but that road's been there for
Mhm.
many, many years.
Is that still a town highway at all?
No,
No, got it.
it's been given up many years ago, before we even bought it. But it is on, if you look on the old Beers Atlas, it's there, and actually, we've had to chase people off who have come on the land with 4-wheelers thinking they would take this old road.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, awfully close to the house for that.
it goes back, I mean, I can take my tractor back on it. And we've skied on it and hiked on it. It goes over to Wright Preston's land and then over to Sniper Island Road.
Okay.
At some points, it was in pretty good shape. It's overgrown a little bit now.
What's your time frame for coming in for preliminary?
Next, soon.
Next one? All right,
Yeah.
moving right
Yeah,
along.
we're all set to go.
Okay.
We'd like to go through the next 2 hearings fairly quickly. We have a potential buyer for the land, and we hope personally to build next spring. And I don't know when the buyer of that parcel would build, probably within the next 2 years.
Which parcel will your house be on, David?
It's actually parcel 3, so this is that house.
Yeah, I got it. That's the remaining land.
Yeah.
Oh, so parcels, okay, gotcha. So down there, sorry, David.
So parcel 5, you have a buyer for.
That's correct.
Okay, I got it.
Thanks for the overview. I don't have any other questions. How about you, Roger?
No, I'm good.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
Thank you very much.
Is it just the 3 of us that are here?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea. Good thing I showed up.
It is.
Yeah. The other David is not in the doghouse, but he didn't tell me he wasn't gonna be here, so I was anticipating him being here.
May have pulled one of my maneuvers. I
Gotcha.
don't forget about it.
Well, we had the one meeting there in December. He's probably like, oh, we've already had the meeting.
Okay. Next application is Robert and Joy Reed. Who's gonna present?
Teamwork, is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah,
More-
or feel free to bring that chair up.
More the
microphone's
merrier.
Right on the desk, and there's also a mic right behind you here.
We swear you in, you swear or affirm and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
do.
Okay, why don't you introduce yourselves and then tell us what you have in mind.
I'm Joy Reed.
Aubrey. Brian Courier, engineer for the project.
Great.
I can give a quick overview. So we had a PUD on lot 2 on the Willis Farm. And we are proposing to amend that and some lot lines. So we would maintain the PUD, but move it over onto the back of the property that's closest to the interstate. And we're proposing to do warehouse buildings with indoor storage. And our technical guy here, the engineer, all the tough questions.
If you want anything pulled up, let me know.
Okay.
I can share.
Sure, so the mini storage proposal is proposed on what's being proposed is lot 4. The REAP zone, all the lots on Willis Farm Road, with the exception of lot number 5 that was permitted and sold a few years ago. So part of the proposal is amending the PUD. And as part of that, and this is a PUD that was approved in 2015, 2017, 2019, I believe. It's been in a number of times, different iterations of it. But this application specifically proposes the mini storage use on lot 4. The remaining site plan elements stay the same, but we are proposing boundary line adjustments between what was lot 3 and 4. So there's a 5,000 square foot warehouse on the southeast corner of the property, permitted, not built. That will be on the same lot as the mini storage.
Sorry, one
use.
sec. Tyler, do you mind throwing up the site plan?
Nope, not a problem.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hang on a
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry about that.
No, I've got it online too.
Roll plan, scale site plan. Here, wait a second. Let me, hold on a sec. I just need
Yeah,
to,
probably.
it's just a pain to kind of wrangle all this on one screen here. Hang on a second.
I don't know how you do it.
A lot of patience. Oh, I say that. Let me get to the share screen. Yeah, actually, I need to do that anyways, otherwise Roger can't see anything. Roger, can you see that?
Actually, I have it in front of me, Tyler. I'm good.
There you go. And if you guys want anything else pulled up, just let me know.
Can you pull up the overall?
Yep, absolutely. Hang on a minute.
Talk about the boundary line.
This is behind your existing shop, right?
It's behind and next to.
Yeah, so, so lot 4. There we go.
And if you want to go up there, you can. Oh, you got a pencil.
Oh, no battery though. So a
That
lot.
would have been really cool.
I don't know. why it worked.
I was looking for mine.
I don't have any double A's if that's what it takes, unfortunately. It's the triple A's.
Just to talk to you from my last meeting. So lot 4 is at the rear of the property. You can see Interstate 89 on the eastern side. Willis Farm Road itself has been constructed. To the shop you were alluding to, David, is located in the middle on lot 3 now. But you'll see the blue line on the exterior is the extent of the REAP property. And we're just adjusting the lot lines where lot 4 is now the entirety of the northern part of the parcel. 4 acres, there's the proposed mini storage use that we're in for tonight. The building on the southeast corner, the 5,000 square foot warehouse, is an approved layout from 2017. We're just changing the use from an office to a warehouse use. And then the adjustment continues to lot 3. You can see the 2 proposed boundaries in magenta there is now just a shade under 2 acres. That includes the constructed shop that's out there today, part of that 2017 approval. There's also a shared, or there's a small office located or approved on the parcel that has not been constructed yet. You can see there's a community septic system also on lot 3, and it's access from Willis Farm Road. And then there's lot 2, which is the approved, just a shade under 6,000 square foot, office building. Also part of that 2017 approval. So, lot 5 remains the same. I believe the driveway and the parking lot have been constructed and, temporary buildings up currently. And then lot 1, the old farmhouse is, there today and, continues to operate as an office. So lot 4, is comprised of, yep.
So I'm just trying to get rid of these so I don't have a bunch of tabs open.
Yep. So the northern part of lot 4 contains 25,000 square feet of what's being proposed as warehouse space. It's made up of 8 different buildings. It's a mix of different unit types, but it's accumulates to 25,000 square feet of storage. You can see the access is from the single point on the southern part of the parcel from Willis Farm Road. It utilizes an existing 60-foot access and utility easement. And then there's a sizable stormwater pond located in the corner by the entrance there. Stormwater is routed to that pond. It is designed to the 25-year storm event. That is not required by the state, but is required by the town of Richmond. Various catch basin networks. There's some lighting proposed on the buildings, motion sensors, small wall pack LED downcast lights. Yeah. And then on the Route 2 side or the west side, you'll see we're proposing a substantial hedge.
Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to get there.
So you can see it just on the west side there. We're proposing a evergreen cedar hedge to screen the use from Route 2 and the adjacent lot 5 property owner. Then we have a few various trees along the entrance to meet our landscaping budget for the project. But happy to go through the staff report, David, or however you want to proceed.
If you want to respond to some of the questions that were raised in the staff report, that would be okay. That would be good. I think a bunch of them have to do with lighting and
So I'll just go through the bold ones if
sure.
that's right. Okay. So 7 basically just notes that the proposed lots meet dimensional coverage standards. Doesn't look like there's an action item there. 12, the applicant's plan set shows a number of proposed planting screenings, screening the warehouse units from lot 4 from Route 2. Lot 4 has no parking between the warehouse units and Route 2. There's only one curb cut for the property.
So if you want to get to like the actual action items, if you go all the way
Oh,
to the
there,
back,
let's go to the back.
all the way in the back,
Yep.
I have items for DRB consideration, then I kind of break them out. And this is similar to when I did a first round kind of reviews to Joy, I sent her in a similar format. So
Yep.
as she responded to stuff, I took it off and just kind of kept it in that same format for continuity's sake.
Okay. So items for DRB consideration, so staff is recommending approval with the conditions as outlined. Under significant outstanding items, it says provide fire lanes as noted in subsection O of section 6.1.6 or receive a waiver from this requirement. We reached out to the fire department.
Yeah, they sent a letter that this plan is good.
They can service the property. They were comfortable with everything.
Did they want fire lanes and they didn't mention it or?
They just wanted to know that we were 24 feet wide in some areas and everything is 24 feet wide, I believe. Right?
And the chief,
Not taller than the,
Yeah, they're 8
Call
foot
it
high, there's
8 foot
steel
high.
buildings, there's firewalls every so many units, so.
so how
pretty
tall,
low.
how high will the buildings be?
They're 8 foot 4 inches, I think.
I think so. Should have those. Wow.
Are these
Got it.
prefab units? Or are they,
No, they're constructed on site.
they're constructed? Okay.
so my logic to kind of having that in there is more of an outstanding item for your consideration. So the chief does make recommendations, but it's ultimately your guys' decision on whether or not you want.
What
You
what
feel fire lanes.
recommendation did the chief make?
In the email he sent, which is essentially something to, hang on a sec,
I didn't see that. That wasn't posted though. was
that
it?
should have been.
I didn't see that.
Let me see. Yeah, this one does have a lot. Okay, hang on a minute. I can pull that up in my email. And I'll apologize for that. This is Joy.
So are these gonna look like storage units you see pretty much everywhere, or, yeah, sort of a flat roof,
Pitched roof.
pitch roof?
Low pitch.
Low pitch, but pitched. You know, no FDC, no fire hydrant, no, you know, very low risk.
Are they gonna be, are you gonna have big enough for vehicles to pull in, or no storage of vehicles, or?
Here we go.
Some of them will be big enough for vehicles.
David, I got
One
the,
row.
I got the letter here.
Okay.
10 by 30,
Yeah.
10 by 20.
Basically, what's the chief?
So it's pretty short. I'll just read it verbatim. On 12/6, Richmond Fire Chief Dennis Guy, on Assistant Chief Gerald Levinsky, my apologies in advance if I mispronounced anybody, met with Bob and Joy Reap about their property on Route 2. And looking over their plans, we, the Richmond Fire Department, will have no problem in providing fire coverage. So there is that. Again, given that it's your call whether or not you want fire lanes back there or not, I did think that given that this particular section touches more on public safety, I did think it might be something that you might consider not waiving if you felt that was appropriate, but that's really your call, which is why I put it in some more significant outstanding items.
That the stormwater pond is right there too. Is that, do you anticipate that would have water in it?
No, it's what the state, they consider a best management practice for the soil type that we're in. It's gravel wetland, so there is water in it, but it's subsurface.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's not it wouldn't serve as a fire pond.
no.
Why don't you continue then?
Number 2, provide confirmation that the stormwater system has been built to accommodate the 25-year event. Yes, it has. And we do trigger the need for a state stormwater permit up to 10-year for the state, but we do have designs for the 25. Provide a designated ADA parking spot or receive a waiver. I believe this one is for the 5,000 square foot warehouse building and not the mini storage.
So where this gets a little complicated, right? And initially trying to figure out how to kind of permit this. We don't actually have like mini storage or storage units to rent per se as an allowed use. What we have is a warehouse which you can rent out to the public. So that's kind of what I use as their use. It's what most closely fit what they were doing. As a consequence of that, that does trigger parking requirements, which are in the parking table, which require, just off the top of my head, 1.5, half space per 1,000 square foot. So we'll call it's 1 space per 2,000, basically. So again, you guys can waive that requirement. They do have parking that was previously approved that's located down here. The issue would be is if you did want to count that parking for everything else, you start to get into more pedestrian pathways between buildings and things like that, which most of those, if you look at the cover letter that Joy provided, requested waivers from most of those requirements that are noted in the regulations. That's also noted in my staff notes. That would be more in section here. Be basically starting to get into the parkings and items, kind of 46.
What is your understanding or expectation of where people will park when
They only temporarily park in front of their unit to unload or load and
There's
then
enough
leave.
room for everybody to pass on either side and somebody can be loading while somebody's driving through.
so you don't think people will be living in these units?
Hope not.
Definitely not.
And again, this is kind of, they have to provide them because it's a warehouse use and
Right.
you're required to have them. That's the only,
Do you have an ADA space down in the parking lot
there are 2 here.
too?
So also in this,
Clarify, they are also required for buildings A through G unless waived.
I would say yes to that. So this was a little complicated because initially this building, they had proposed a different location for this building. That building would have been up here and the parking to the right. But the problem with that in their initial application is that none of this was approved. Or this was already previously approved, so they were gonna try and use the previous approval for that. For like their stormwater, for the lighting, all that other stuff. If they wanted to use a new location, they would have to resubmit new information showing all that, so they opted to keep this building in its previously approved location and then use the existing stormwater, landscaping, and lighting that was already previously approved for this building, and that was noted in the last couple of submissions, which are basically right here. The existing stormwater management plan, which is for more in relation for that building. And then the septic details, which would also pertain to, so hang on, to this building specifically. So that kind of was a result of, otherwise they would have had to account for where that stormwater and all that other stuff would have gone with the new plan if they wanted it in a different location than would have been previously approved.
Okay, not sure how we got the stormwater from, just wanted to confirm. ADA parking is required for buildings A to G.
It should be, yes.
Okay. And so you guys have requested a waiver. What's the basis for the waiver? All I see is we want a waiver. I see it's required. I don't know. It doesn't say we can waive it.
Does actually.
We can waive the first part of that.
Let's see here.
And while you're looking that up. just
Yeah,
curious.
so the basis is, it's short-term parking mostly for unloading, a U-Haul or a truck or something like that. I think everyone's pretty familiar with generally how a mini storage warehouse facility would work. Generally speaking, there's not designated parking spaces for it. There is
Parking in front of each unit, so it's.
correct, yeah, and most of the units have 360 access, so if somebody had a larger vehicle, you could access it from the other side. But the temporary nature and infrequent use of it to park it at half a space per 1,000 square feet, I think is extra impervious that I don't think anyone's looking for.
And Patrick, the waiver section that you're looking for is in section 6.1.6, subsection P at the end, waivers, the deer be may waive some or all parking requirements. And may place on a waiver as necessary to guarantee adequate parking. So that would apply to all everything preceding this.
Okay, good.
And there is some overflow space to the 5,000 square foot warehouse space. So there's, a dozen or 15 spaces over there at half a space per 1,000 square feet, we're pretty overparked for that building.
Where are we, David? Are we still going through,
Another
or are we
item?
jumping around questions?
That looked like the last of the action items.
That was the last significant. outstanding item.
Put it away.
I guess your cover letter said there was going to be apartments. And what it's lot 2.
Potentially someday.
Yeah,
Not
plans all-
tackling that today.
it would be down here, but currently it's a office building with a fairly sizable parking lot. Unlikely to be constructed as currently approved, but the notation in the cover letter was talking about that area.
Okay. Wonder about the screening, the hedge.
Mhm.
How tall are those, and would you expect them to block the view of the building from Route 2?
I actually had one other note on that. I was wondering if it were possible to say pine or hemlock. We have a bunch of pines that are
That are
quite big and are
Like sizable,
fields
but
that we could put in. I would like it to be interchangeable with pine, and pine get really tall.
Yeah, we have them as cedar.
Yeah. I would like an and/or.
You can make provisions to, and get credit off your landscaping costs for keeping existing landscaping. So you'd have to determine kind of a dollar amount for that. And again, if you wanted to say, I don't know, take a tree, dig it up and
Right,
move it to a
right.
different spot on the property, I think you should be able to do that. We just have to,
I just
account
wanted
for
to
it.
be clear that I was hoping that we could do either.
you would just need to confirm specifically if that is, it's not gonna be like a, maybe we'll do this, or maybe it has to be, we are gonna do this. and
Okay,
Put this here.
the screen is gonna be there. The species of evergreen could we say is either pine or, what was it that you had, cedar?
They
They both provide,
Full year round.
right,
So if you go to sheet 5, oh, you're not, okay. So our landscaping schedule, right here.
I didn't.
I know it's too small to see, but it
a
has,
second, I can zoom into it.
it has 49 cedars proposed. At a certain size. 3 to 4 feet, is what we're proposing. So what we'd like to consider is, instead of red cedar, just a general evergreen. So there'd be 49, still 3 to 4 feet tall minimum. But potentially could be an intermixing of species.
The only difference I see is the cedar has a thicker growth than most pine. Certainly more than white pine, for example.
Mhm.
And the whole idea here is to screen this off from Route 2.
Our thought was if we put some of these pines in, it would be pretty immediate, taller.
Get something established right away.
Right.
Yeah, we have them spaced. Like,
And you'd accept a condition that any diseased or dead trees would be replaced.
We've already done it a couple times
Yeah.
on the existing property.
And it won't end.
And it won't end either.
Yeah, and the only requirement for that, for vegetation is vegetation be indigenous to the area, site impervious, large enough to do well. And planted at intervals in keeping with other neighborhood foliage. So basically you could use it. We would just need to confirm how many of them you're planning to use.
Okay.
Kind of roughly where they're gonna be, and then just some provisions to make sure that anything else is getting planted. Which again, red maple, obviously that's one, but eastern red cedar and a simple letter from the landscape engineer saying like, all the plantings are gonna be native to indigenous to Vermont or New England.
Okay.
Something to that effect.
Do you expect them to fully shield the building immediately?
I wouldn't say immediately. There is a little bit of a grade change there.
Because expect that, it's like 3 to 4 feet, and this seems important in that, like, the staff report says,
we're over.
that the design standards don't apply because this doesn't directly face Route 2.
It's almost 200 feet away from Route 2.
Yeah, I don't see a distance.
No, it's not the distance, it's
It's-
the landscaping specifically that would.
It's, if it faces Route 2, then the design standards apply. If it faces directly, so we seem to be relying on these plantings to make the case that it's not directly facing Route 2.
Yeah, so there looks like there's roughly a 5-foot grade difference from where the trees are shown to the edge of pavement. Trees being on the low side.
Gravel.
I'm sorry, gravel, edge of gravel. If we slid them up and we're right along the edge of gravel there, it takes away from our snow storage area.
Mhm.
So they may not screen day one, but down the road, if the board's comfortable potentially with taller species, but maybe not as closely spaced as we're currently showing them. I think maybe that could be some middle ground.
What would be the trade-off there?
Well, if they're taller,
Taller,
they're
then they're
likely
bushier.
wider, so if they're smaller, they're gonna be spaced close together.
So there,
I'm sorry, yeah, I would think taller would,
Okay.
if, there's a lot riding on that screen in terms of, whether you meet design standards or not.
so toward the end of Gateway section 3.4.5. F, you have a bunch of criteria for the buildings, which are, as I remember, pretty peculiar, pretty particular to the gateway section only. And one says structures will have the appearance of wood or brick.
Did it still say that? In the current zoning?
So let me see here.
What I have,
Let me see.
1987, where'd you get that? Just kidding.
3.0.
That's-
2017.
No, that's old.
Gateway residential commercial that's on page 12. Okay, design standards. Yeah, David, I think you might have an older version.
Oh, okay.
So here, take a peek.
Because I don't have it. Half.
Yeah, 3.4.5.
There are design standards, but again,
Right.
that's where if there's that
So this
screen in front
is
of.
what I was looking at here.
Yeah. Okay.
V,
Yep, and that would be triggered if you felt that the screen.
faces directly
Yeah,
onto Route
yeah,
2.
if you didn't feel
Okay,
that-
they
if you felt
changed
that the
That,
building.
they changed that, I see that, okay. And oh, I see. So all of these have to do with if they face directly onto Route 2,
And
then you're claiming that
primary.
they
And to
go
us,
out.
it's on Willis Farm Road.
Right,
I would argue mini stores might not necessarily have a primary facade.
what color do you have in mind for what they are?
The one, yeah. Red. Kidding.
That,
We wanted to blend in too. Bob
Okay.
and I, we live
That's what I'd
half
like-
of our lives there.
right, that's
so
what I'd
we're
like to
not
see
looking
is-
to-
I'd like to see them blend in more than
we do,
red
David,
ones that
trust
stand
me.
right out.
We're there,
Okay,
right.
So I have two questions.
go for it, Roger.
All right, so one is, there's a lot of units here. Have you done any traffic work on figuring out how much traffic they would take to support all these things?
So we haven't done a formal traffic study. I did pull up the ITE trip generation for 25,000 square feet of a mini warehouse, which is what this would fall under. So the peak PM trip generation is 5 trip ends. So these types of uses are very friendly to municipal services, whether that be traffic. Obviously, we're not using any water and sewer services. Very little low traffic generators. You know, a lot of people visit their units on weekends, not necessarily during normal commuting hours.
Okay. And the second question is we're considering waivers for some of the things that would normally apply to warehouse use. Or if we approve those waivers, are you bound to do mini warehouses? Because that's really why we would be approving those, because these are going to be mini storage units and not big warehouses. And so are you bound to do this mini storage if we give these waivers?
We fully intend to, yeah.
Okay, you intend to. So Tyler, is there any way we can couch our waivers on the use of this as mini storage?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Mhm.
I don't think we have an issue with that. That condition is fine.
So you'd want like a just so, and I'm just jotting this down, so you want a waiver that basically condition the waivers that they build these mini storage units.
Would it
Well,
just
they
be-
build what they proposed, yes, mini storage units, because like if we waive pedestrian access and we waive some of the things that they requested, we're waiving them because they really don't fit in with the use of this as mini storage. And I can understand why they should be waived, but if there's some change and the applicant decides to do something other than mini storage, then maybe those waivers wouldn't apply. And so what I want to do is bind the waivers and the mini storage use together.
Yeah, you should be able to do that, because again, what you would just be saying is you just would essentially condition it that, you're waiving the requirements for the mini storage as,
As a use, that's correct.
as of right now, and you could condition it that those waivers would be voided if the applicants propose changes to their, proposed changes to their planned unit development that would impact lot 4. And you could maybe, because it's all on lot 4, right? So you could kind of condition it that, you approve the waivers for lot 4 specifically. And that way, if any other changes, so it wouldn't apply to the PUD as a whole. It would only apply to this particular section of the PUD.
All right, well, we can talk about that, but the point is that the waivers make sense to me as applied to warehouses used for mini storage. But as you said, we don't have that use set out specifically, and so what we're doing is we're approving a proposal to make warehouses, and the warehouses would not necessarily or would maybe require some of the things that we're waiving because of the mini storage use. I'm going around in circles here, but you get my drift.
We do.
Yeah, and I think that's fine.
Okay.
One other question, but this is a conditional use. Part of that, we need to find that it's keeping with the character of the zoning district. And standards for the district. And under that section, number 9, the last one, it says the character of the area shall be comprised of unique commercial enterprises that help define and promote independent entrepreneurial economy of the nearby small town. Intermixed with housing. So, I know there's been a lot of interest in this district and how it looks and so forth. So I'm just curious your take on how this proposal for self-storage would satisfy that.
I think it's more not self-storage, but the building itself, or the buildings are very similar to the building that's right next to them, which is this building.
And
That's our shop. That's right next door.
And I can't tell you how many people and what I think are small businesses in town who makes the water bottles.
Oh,
All these folks are trying to rent space in my shop. Jared from the ski shop needs space. Those folks that make the water bottle are looking for space. They're looking for space to store dry goods. So I think that lends to helping small businesses in town.
Is that what you sort of anticipate the structure to look like?
it's similar, but I mean, it's got metal siding. They're a smaller version, but it's a one pitch rather than a gable.
And there'll be a lot of doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
We tried to keep the doors not facing Route 2. And actually, there's only 6 of them facing Route 2. All of them are facing interior of the space.
Yeah, so you see units on the ends. You can see the smaller ones are concentrated on the interstate side. Every one of those interior rectangles is a unit.
Because from the interstate, all you really see is your roof.
You know.
Yeah, you look right over the top. Yeah. Even more so where this is compared to where our shop is, because you're climbing.
And there is one thing pointing out too, because when we talk about character of the neighborhood, that definition has actually been changed. So here. Character here. This phrase shall be equivalent to the phrase character of the zoning district in which the land that is subject of the application is located, as defined by the purpose and features of the zoning district, as well as the regulatory standards set forth for the zoning district, and any specific standards, goals, or policies of the zoning district described in the town plan. The DRB may also look at architectural appearance, structure size, parking, configuration, setbacks, lot coverage, and landscaping style of properties with 1,500 feet, within 1,500 feet of the property that is subject to the application. So what that does mean is if we're looking at the use end of it, the use is an allowed use. So that means the use fits the character of the neighborhood, since it's defined in here as allowed use in section 3.4.3, where item number KK, warehouse use. So that is an allowed use with conditional use approval. So going off that definition of character of the neighborhood, circling back.
Just to be clear, those are conditional uses.
Right, but it's saying that
Okay.
use is an allowed use, meaning that,
You're complicating things by calling conditional uses allowed uses.
no, because it's allowed with conditional use
Of course,
approval.
that's what makes it a conditional use, but it's not conditional not use. I hear your other point though, I think it's making things unduly complicated to start calling them a lot of uses. I don't have any questions.
Okay, Roger, any other questions?
Yeah, we don't have a proposed elevation drawing, do we? We don't.
I did provide.
Is that correct?
Yeah, hang on one second.
Is there one?
I didn't see it.
I did electronic.
I didn't see one.
A, B, C, D, E. I know I have them, the hard copy of them. I'm not sure if they were in updated PDFs. that you sent.
I don't think they got onto the.
Well, it should have been, here, let me see if I have something, anything else older. The original version of this. Let's see here.
You have the hard copies with you?
I
today?
do. I have I have the big set. Was it in the smaller set too?
I don't think so. I think I just bought it. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Sorry, this is a little out of order. I kind of pawned through this stuff. I did bring them up here. Should have. Here it is.
Were they part of the application package?
So they were they were with the hard copy, but I don't think that and I didn't notice that they were.
They look like storage units.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, there's no surprise.
All right, no big deal. I was just wondering if I missed it.
No,
I was really focused on what we were updating, so I forgot.
And I don't think we didn't talk about the elevation, so I kind of. I remember seeing it once. It was.
Roger, do you want to see these?
I
Can
can,
you have them?
yeah, hang on a second here. Let me see if I can.
Well, it's not a matter of life or death, David.
I'll walk them over. First time for sex.
You're very small.
While we're doing that, let me see.
Let me know. Can you see it all right?
I can't see anything.
How about this? I'm trying to kind of.
I don't see any elevations there. Is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to?
Well, they're storage units.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Elevations
kind
and
of.
storage.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we're just, all right, I get it. Okay, that's enough.
The different configuration.
Sorry, Roger, I don't have anything better for.
That's all right. I got it. So these are the standard flat top units.
There's a pitch.
Flat.
There's a picture.
Well, there's a pitch, but you know.
Do we have a public? Do you have any questions?
No,
No.
it looks like a good project.
Okay.
There is some people on, there are some
There's some
people in the
in
chat here, yep. So I guess if you wanted to open it. hang on a
Yeah, I'd
second.
like to open it to the public.
I'm gonna
Are there any
stop
questions
sharing
from the
here. Hang
public?
on 1 second. So if anybody wants, you can raise your hand. So the way you would do that is if you go down to,
Just go through them. Rod, do you have any questions?
Yes, I would like to speak. Thank you very much. This is Rod West. I'm an abutting neighbor at 920 West Main Street. And I'm pleased with the contours and the trees that'll be left for giving me a little bit of visual interruption between the project and my residence. I met with Brian and Bob yesterday. I had a few concerns about water and runoff, but they're very responsive and helped me understand that there wasn't a major change in the amount of water that'll be coming my direction compared to what comes from the other side of the interstate. But I definitely wanted to speak just so that I'm on record in case anything changes in the future. I think it's, it's kind of a funny thing. You think about storage units. There's a lot of storage units, but once they're all full, people don't come very often. It's a very quiet use. And I would also encourage the the board to consider the distance away from Route 2 in terms of impact. Really, that backside of the property just isn't visible when you're driving by on Route 2 between the farmhouse, my son's house at 878, and and the barn. People aren't peering back there, and so it's a nice, quiet, sensible, and well needed use in Richmond. It's all the storage units in Chittenden County are chock-a-block full, is what I've heard. It's interesting. A lot of the moving companies have sucked up a lot of the storage units, and it's a really important use that's needed. And it would actually help with affordable housing. People, need to downsize. They need to store stuff if they're going to move into an apartment. And so I hope that you will look on it favorably.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Balance Yoga, do you have questions?
Yeah, I do, since I'm that lot that needs a lot of shielding. And I guess I do have concerns about moving from cedar to pine, since especially white pine would actually turn into no shielding as it got larger. So I would just sort of like to address that issue, that maybe the wording needs to be that there is consistent shielding. And that way, if a tree that's planted turns out to not shield, then it needs to be corrected. Because those will be right on top of my driveway and parking lot and building. And although, I agree it most likely will be quiet, which is another question that I have, but it will be ugly also, just because of the nature of the structures going in. And so traffic is a concern a little bit. I think you're right that once they're full, there's not likely to be a lot of traffic. But that does depend on sort of what they're used for. If it's something that's accessed daily by small businesses in town, then that doesn't turn into low traffic. That turns into relatively higher traffic. And I don't know if these are things that can be accessed like whenever people want to, including the middle of the night, or if there's a gate. I'm not really certain how is it just open and people can come and do what they want, which is a concern, just because I hate to throw it out there, not to make Joy or Bob nervous or anything, but self-storage units are kind of a perfect place to deal with drugs, because if they get caught, you don't own it. No, your house can't be confiscated. So there's a fairly high rate of that around the country. And so as the person who'd be right nearby, I would like people to not have access whenever they want, when there's nobody around to see them in the middle of the night, etc. So just to throw that out there in case nobody's thought about that. So I guess I have questions, but I figure they'll sort of get fleshed out a little bit as hopefully conversations happen. This is the first I've heard of this.
So have you given any thought about ingress and egress at various hours? Is it going to be open all the time in your mind?
Well, we have a gate on the plans. We plan on having security cameras,
You'll be tracked. We'll know who comes in and out and when they come in and out.
and no one is, Bob and I are right there. So I mean, it's not like we're the absent landlord who's not.
Right,
keeping an
but you're
eye
not
on
there in the middle of the night.
I'm not there in the middle of the night now, David, and
it. I mean, we
and I
have,
see people come in and out of my shop all the time because we have cameras there. People pull in that driveway. I don't think we're stopping that.
but you won't be able to get in without a code. So anybody who's coming
Into a
in,
unit.
right?
Right.
Oh, well, no, through the gate,
Gate or the unit.
Oh, so the gate will be locked.
right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we have
And,
a shown gate on the,
and it'll take a code, which they would get if they rented a unit.
Right.
And it'll take
Okay.
the picture when you come.
What
through.
about lighting? Will they be on some sort of a motion sensor?
Yep.
yeah, so part of the staff report was they wanted clarity on what type, whether they're dim, motion, or
Right.
timer, I think maybe was the third one.
Well, so we bumped into this with another project. So they'll be on motion sensor. Will there be a period of time once they're tripped, will they stay on for a long period of time? Is that adjustable?
Yeah, so there'd be motion sensor, and as long as activity is, you know, people are moving stuff in and out, it will stay on, but once they leave, it wouldn't stay on.
It would
for
go
next
off.
time.
Okay.
I think timers are actually worse than motion.
Yeah,
sensors.
with-
No, I
They get
agree.
messed
With
up,
font,
but-
you guys see them
yeah.
all the time. Photo cells are
Right.
popular, but those tend to not work sometimes. so.
And a lot of the other sections in here, this is your guys' call, whether you want to make them. I thought most of those seem like stuff that we typically clean up with conditions of approval, usually, in most cases. Again, if you feel it's something there that rises above that, obviously that's your
We
call.
could discuss that. Okay. I didn't catch the name of the woman from Balance Yoga.
That was Terry
Terry,
Walker.
are you comfortable with the response?
Yeah, no, I'm glad that there will be a gate and that, I mean, Bob is also at that location, seems like at all hours, because I'm there at weird hours too, and he's almost always there. Just a concern in the long run. But the gate definitely, makes me feel a little bit better about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there anybody else hiding behind all that stuff? No?
No, it's just, that's what we got.
Any final questions from the DRB?
I don't know if you saw it or not, but Ashley Farr sent an email to me that was supposed to go to.
I actually got it right now.
You
He
got it.
forwarded it to me too, so
Right.
hang on a second.
Basically saying that he endorsed the plan, but I just wanted to make sure that that was gonna be found somewhere.
Yep.
He's in a butter across
Right.
too, so.
And I got it right here. Hang on a minute. To whom it may concern, you want to give our 2 cents on the REAP's proposal to put storage units on their property. We are excited to see storage units going into Richmond. We often receive inquiries about storage at the farm and have found in our own search for temporary storage that the units in Williston are often full. The REAPs keep their property well maintained, and we would expect they will continue to do so with the addition of storage. The proposed location tucked back by the highway seems like the ideal spot, out of sight and out of the floodplain. Thank you for your time, Ashley and Aaron Farr. And I apologize, I got this at
He didn't send it until,
Okay.
I think he thought. he sent it-
6:58 was when I received it.
Nothing could be uglier than the U-Haul storage on Williston Road there.
Which is full, and they're.
Is it full?
Yes.
Yeah, that
They're-
whole development that's going
And
in
it's
next to
huge.
it.
They're building right next to it right now.
One of the
Is
things-
that what's going in there now?
Yeah, and so we would have clients who would be remodeling their houses or, whatever, sold their house while we're building their house, and there was no place for them to go. So,
I'm always amazed.
I know,
And what's demand for?
right? And, the other part is no water and sewer. And I'm sure you guys are aware that we've been trying to get that to our property for too long.
Yeah, that's one last question I had, and it's really not with no bearing on your application, but for a future use for apartment buildings, do you have the septic capacity on site for that? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Would that max it out?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I
We
mean, we're
would-
limited.
we would do what we could with what we have on site.
And Brian and Bob and I have worked through what we could do, and this is sort of, all right.
So the pipes are an
What?
issue?
We haven't, the pipes aren't an issue.
An issue.
You mean like?
They're not.
Connection to the-
We're
the
still
town, yeah.
talking to the town and, we're still very open to doing that so we could do more. But the yellow light that we've had for, I don't even know how many years, there's a point where you just have to do something.
Right.
And that's where we are.
Okay. Any other questions, Roger?
Roger, you're muted. Here,
Here, the dog was barking and I didn't want you to have to listen to that. So yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Perfect.
Good.
Anything else from the applicant?
No, thank you for
Thank you
listening.
very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd entertain a motion. You want to go to discuss this at deliberative session?
Yes, so moved.
Second, Roger,
Yes,
all in favor?
fine.
So we're gonna close the hearing, go into deliberative session. We have 45 days to give you a response. We will certainly try and actually in the past year have been very good about being sooner than that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So we're still live. Did you want to, did you want to? How did you want to handle the second bit, the 512 stuff? Did you want to do that on the
You wanna-
record? I think we can do it off the record because there's no decision that's being.
Right.
Some of the proposed changes to the zoning regs.
I didn't.
That's okay.
Do we have anything else we need to discuss on the record?
Nope. So you can motion to,
What do we have coming up in January?
did you want to discuss that while we're still recording or did you want to?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so aside from you at the moment, there isn't anything else that we have in the pipeline. They are discussing adding density to the creamery. There's some other stuff that's kind of going on.
Thank you,
Haven't
guys.
Had anything else coming? Just make sure you did sign the sheet, correct? Perfect, awesome, thank you, guys. Yeah, I had a pain trying to track somebody down that gave comment
Is
and
that
didn't
gonna
put their
come
name.
in front of us for January or?
No, but I was listening prior to tonight, there's conversations about expanding the density over there significantly to, basically, they're gonna redesign building 2 that they just approved. So, they want a lot more density. And the planning commission seems amenable to that. So, but that's
Density in the form of residential.
yes, yeah, significantly expanded. But, well, I mean, that's by no means a done deal, but.
Yeah.
Okay. And that comes before us to make that decision?
Yeah, well, they would have, same kind of deal. They have to come in and amend their PUD to show what they're gonna do. And then that, I don't know what that means.
And will
for the
that
Supreme
interfere
Court.
with anything the select board has previously done for them?
At this point, it's not the select board show anymore. It's your
We're
show.
out of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is, there's no interim anything. It's all, they're dealing with the regs as they are today.
Okay, good. Then I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing and go into deliberative session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.